Hello everyone! So I decided to make another video, even though it hasn't been long since the last one, to talk about my day-to-day life, because I realized in the first video I was kind of just rambling about what this video blog process was going to be and why I wanted to do it. So I figured a good follow-up or a good official first video would be my day-to-day life on what I do every day of the week. And what kind of also spurred this was a friend asked me a question, which I'll get to after my day-to-day stuff, but that kind of solidified me wanting to talk about my day-to-day. So let's get started. So Monday I'm at my middle school all day long. I normally do 3, maybe 4 classes. If I'm lucky, I do more than that, which prevents my downtime. So I spend the whole day there at the middle school, which is lovely because I normally get to see most of my students and I get to practice English with them and just kind of talk and hang out with them, which is wonderful. After school, I don't have anything on Monday. Sometimes I will stay at the middle school and play soccer with some of the students or watch them play field hockey, which is a lot of fun. But normally I'll just hang around the middle school or I'll come back to my apartment and do laundry or stuff like that around the apartment. Tuesday morning, I'm back at the middle school. I normally only do one class, maybe on a Tuesday morning, and then I have lunch at the middle school, and then I go to one of my elementary schools. And at that elementary school, I teach the 6th grade class first at around 2 o'clock ish, and then I teach 5th grade after that. And that's the only school where the 5th and 6th grade are separated for me because there's so many students and they just wanted to have it separated, and that's a lot of fun. It's a little more challenging than middle school, obviously, because the levels are different. So sometimes it's difficult to go from middle school to an elementary school because I have to adjust in my head before I get to the elementary school. But all in all, I mean, I'm getting the process of the change, and the teachers are very welcoming and helpful, and it's very nice. And then after school rather, I get to come home for a little and make a quick dinner, if you will. And then I go to my brass band practice because I'm in a brass band that I joined. It kind of happened on random terms. That month that I was at the Board of Education before classes started, I did my self-introduction to my coworkers there and told them that I played the drums. And a person that comes in and does work at the BOE and just was in the BOE frequently caught word of this and asked me if I wanted to join the brass band that he was in because they were looking for a drummer and it would be, helpful for them. And I said, sure, because I haven't played drums in a long time. So Tuesday nights, I go and do about a 2 to 3 hour practice with my brass band, which is a lot of fun. We've already had one concert and we have another one coming up on October 22nd, I believe. So I'm looking forward to that. Wednesday, I am at 2 elementary schools. Wednesday morning, I am at one, and then I have lunch with that elementary school, and then the afternoon I go to another one. And both of those elementary schools are very small. They're very a very close group of students in both of the schools, and it's awesome. It's great because, granted, I only teach the 5th and 6th grade. The 1st graders know me as well, along with the 3rd and 4th, and all the students want to see me and talk to me, and it's very inviting and very welcoming. So normally what I'll do on Wednesdays is I'll have lunch with the students because they normally have lunch a little earlier than the other school, and then I get to have a little recess with them where we can play basketball in the gym or play field hockey inside, kind of, or just any recess type activity. And I love it. It's a lot of fun because I get to bond with students that I don't actually get to teach regularly, and that's a lot of fun. And then the afternoon school, there's actually only 2 students that I teach. There's one 5th grade student and one 6th grade student. So it's a very up close approach, and it's awesome. It's difficult. Don't get me wrong. It's very difficult because it's almost as if I'm more of a tutor instead of a teacher, but I'm learning to adjust to that environment and adjust to that situation to the best of my ability. And the 2 students are incredible. They don't have a lot of confidence, but their English is fantastic, both in writing and speaking. And I can't praise them enough when when they do what they do in class. And then after school on Wednesday, I again come home for a quick dinner, and the other ALT in the town and we go to English Conversation Club, which is available for anybody really, but normally it's adults in the towns and some high school students. We have a couple regulars that show up every once in a while. A couple new faces pop up, but for the most part, it's more aimed towards older people, like adults in the community, so they can practice and learn English. And it also gives us a chance for high school students to teach them some slang or some more modern type of English as opposed to what comes straight out of the textbook. And that's a lot of fun, and it's nice to just get in the community and get to know people and hang out with people in that sense. And then Thursday, again, I'm at two different elementary schools, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. The first elementary school, I don't teach that class until right before lunch. So what I get to do before those classes is I can go to PE and do PE with the students, or I can go to music and do music with the students. So there's other opportunities, again, to where I can be with the whole school as opposed to just the 5th and 6th grade, which is nice because I would feel weird only being with 5th and 6th grade. I would feel not uncomfortable, but rather like I was isolating myself to only a certain age group, and I want to be welcoming to all the students. So, if I do end up having them in 5th and 6th grade English, they know me, and it's not as scary for them to try to speak a new language. And then after lunch, they do lunch the earliest out of all my schools, so I get done with lunch very early with them. And I go to the next school and have recess with that school, because the morning school, they don't really do a recess. They kind of do, but the recess is kind of awkwardly before lunch, if you will. They do exercise here pretty regularly with elementary school students, and the way it works out is right after the English class, they do like the physical exercise / recess, and then the students go to lunch, and then they clean up around the school, and then they go back to class. So I get to kind of have two recesses on those days, which are nice. And then the afternoon school is also very big, and I don't get to spend as much time with the other students as I would like to, except for at that recess that I briefly get to hang out with before classes start back up. But I found that after I teach the English class, if I hang out in the gym or kind of hang out in the hallways when the students are leaving, a lot of the younger students will come up and approach me and try to talk to me in English or speak to me in Japanese, and I'll do my best to respond to them in Japanese. So I have found ways to talk to them to the best of my ability and get to know those students. And then that finally brings us, Thursday after school, I don't have any responsibilities in terms of doing things in the community or things like that. So normally I'll kind of spend that day to myself in the apartment, maybe watch some stuff on Netflix or watch a movie or something. Or if I don't want to do that, again, I might go to the middle school and play some soccer, or see if I can catch the last bit of practice for field hockey or things like that. And that's really all for Thursday. Thursday's not that exciting in terms of after school. And then Friday comes, and Friday I'm at the middle school all day again, so it's pretty much the same as my Monday. But normally after Friday, I'll try to do something with the other ALT in town. We might go to like the city and go shopping or something along that nature, or really anything. Fridays are a lot of fun to just do anything, whether it be go into town here or go into the cities that are only like an hour away. And then Saturday, I do a lot of different things on Saturdays. Recently was asked to do Saturday school with the other ALT, which I missed the first one, but we have another one coming up this next weekend. The other ALT and I are working on pen pal exchange stuff. I have concerts, like I said, with the brass band. There's also sporting events for my middle school that I like to go to, or just festival stuff. I also meet up with some friends that are in the same prefecture as me that are in other cities. I go and meet up with them. Uh, a couple weekends ago, a friend and I went to Hiroshima, and we went and saw the Peace Memorial. As I'm sure many of you saw, I put pictures on Facebook and stuff. So weekends are pretty much available for anything. Saturday and Sunday both. Sunday I like to hang out in my apartment a little more, maybe catch up on laundry or just kind of clean up and stuff. Whatever I kind of neglected throughout the week, I kind of save all for Sunday and knock that out real quick. But that's pretty much my day-to-day stuff. I'm kind of not always busy, but I definitely am busy on certain days, and then I have kind of some off days there in between, and it's a nice balance, a nice yin yang, if you will. It's a nice give and take. There's days where I put in a lot of effort and I'm very busy, and then there's other days where after school I get to come home, relax, and watch Netflix or play PlayStation or do whatever I want. Now this leads me, as I pull up this question here from my friend. He asked that how do people react to me living around them or just living in the general area? And I would say at first they were very uncomfortable, or at least that was the impression that I got. Mainly because my beard, so facial hair is not a huge thing in Japan. Also, my beard is very unkempt, if you will. I'm sure a lot of people back home, including my family, want me to clean it up or get rid of it. Probably the get rid of it one, which I'm working on. I have plans to buy trimmers and clean it up, don't worry. But back to the actual question. No, at first they were definitely... They knew I was an ALT. They knew that I was replacing my predecessor, the person that was here before me. And so they knew what I was here for, but I was replacing a girl, so I think me being a guy kind of caught them off guard, maybe. I'm not sure. But, I mean, the other ALT and I are the only foreigners that live in this town. So that's the best way I could answer that. Imagine there only being 2 foreigners in your town. It's we're very known simply because we're foreign, and so if people, so the teachers that I work with, they all know me very well, and we're friendly and we talk, and it's no different than back home. But you know, if I go to the grocery store or something like that, I tend to get stared at, or people will just kind of like be in awe that I know what I'm doing, if you will. And just general public, if people don't know me or they haven't seen me, they'll be confused that I know what I'm doing and that I'm out in the town and living life. But for the most part, it's not like anyone's hateful towards me. There's just definitely this weird bubble of like, oh, there's a foreign person living in this town. That's interesting because we're such a small town. I'm surprised that anyone would even be here. So I hope that answered the question to the best of the ability. And then the other question he asked, which he framed being a little more specific towards people wanting to do this job or people who study a foreign language, and he asked, how have my language studies changed since I've been here? And they've changed drastically, that's for sure. So in college and high school, it's very much study what's in the book, do it on a test, and just try to remember, which there's nothing wrong with that. I understand it in a school setting. But here, I very rarely study like straight out of the book. The only thing I ever really use the book for is vocab. And even then, I don't focus on all of the vocab, just words that I find useful that I would use regularly. And then other things, I just practice in the community that I'm in. So if I have downtime at the school, I'll walk around and try to read signs or read posters or read stuff like that. Or if there's kanji or words that I don't know, I'll look them up on the spot and try to figure it out and piece it together. Also just listening to the TV, to music, to my teachers talking around me, picking up words, trying to talk to my students, as I said. It's much more an engaged type of studying as opposed to taking notes out of a book and doing it that way. So the friend that I'm referring to, I know is studying Japanese at college. So it's not like in the class setting where you're only speaking Japanese for an hour or reading for an hour. I'm using Japanese every day, 24/7. And I mean, even in my apartment, I know people would probably think, oh, in his apartment he can use English, watch stuff in English. That's true, I can. But when it comes to cooking things or microwaving something, like all of the directions for drinks, frozen foods, any of that stuff, that's all in Japanese. So I still use Japanese in my apartment because I have to. I have to get by. My bills, things like that, are all in Japanese. So it's a very, as I said, hands-on approach, kind of like you just jump into a cannonball and you hope that you come up floating and hope that you learn something out of it, which I have. My Japanese has improved drastically since I've been here. It's not perfect. I'm not fluent. I'm not anything like that, but my confidence in speaking and my level of comprehension has definitely improved since I've been here in this short time. And so I hope that it can only continue to go up from here. And that's probably going to do it for this. I went on longer than I expected, but I hope this kind of clears up some people's heads about what I do, or maybe just informs people of what I do day to day. I also hope that it answered my friend's questions. As I said in the last one, if you have questions, please leave them. You can comment them on the YouTube page or on my Facebook page if you're a friend of me on Facebook. Just leave comments, or if you don't want them to be public like that, you can do what my friend did and message them to me on Facebook. Any of that works. If you have questions, maybe you don't have questions, I don't know. Questions make it easier to make videos because I can base an idea around it. But that's going to do it for this one. I hope you all enjoyed it. I look forward to making the next one to ramble in front of my computer. And I hope you all enjoyed. And take care, and I'll see you in the next one.